Yeah, you're right. Welcome back to M Hood Fishing, everybody. Almost the full moon. That's actually tomorrow. But really full tonight. So I have just a little bit of light left, right? So before I look for a bait, because I have no bait for catfish, before I do anything, this rod here with that sumo spoon, that's what we're gonna do just for a few minutes. But we gotta wait out there. Come on. Check this out. This was sent by a subscriber. I throw these all the time, but this is a bigger one than I've ever thrown. And it's on a Carolina rig. That's what you should be doing with these. You need a swivel, right? Because they're going to twist. And then there's the lead. I don't need a lot of lead for where we're fishing, so I'm only using 3/8. However, I could change that if I need to. I got the heaviest slip weight I have for this is a 1/2 ounce right now. A little bit like yesterday, it was very windy most of the day. However, the wind calmed down earlier than it did yesterday. We'll see if the fish are on fire, because they were last night. Well, they were biting pretty good when I started. We're gonna go ahead and throw a current seam. The first one. Sometimes I like to do that, but that can tangle, you know, shaking. Just a nice retrieve. You always can figure out like what the speed of that retrieve is, what you need. Great time for some river talk, for some data. 11 feet is where we're at according to the flood stage measurement, the gauge up at Carrollton in New Orleans, and it's dropping. It's been dropping slowly. I think I'll get back to this later. Look at all that. Piece of grass just totally wrapped on there, nice and uniformically. Maybe later in the session, but let's go ahead and take advantage of like the last 5 minutes of light. Unable to get bait at the moment, so we're just going to go ahead and get the big light going. That'll draw some stuff in eventually, or things are just going to get better. I have seen mullet jump, and just it's a matter of time. But let's go ahead and get this light going. Oh, something just ran back there. Rabbit probably. That's much better, but something's missing. It's hiding over here in the dark. At least now it looks like a catfish session. It might take some time, but in maybe an hour to 2 hours, there could be white bass coming all the way up into where this rod holder is, because this is going to attract bait and other things such as bugs, putting bugs on the water, shrimp, stuff like that. But yeah, lots of bad weather came in before us getting here. Sometimes bad weather keeps a lot of bait from coming close in. I don't really think that's going to be the case so much throughout the whole night, but it is at the moment. They're just not close in. There's some shrimp, some catfish got picked out of the net. Nothing big enough to use for bait. We are looking for something like a mullet or a big shad or a skipjack. Oh no, I forgot to film that. I picked up a mullet, little tiny one, and that's out there alive now. So there's no mullet in this bit of water here. However, let's grab a handful. Look at this. Look how big they are. Look at the size. Some are small, others are gargantuan like that. It's like the size of my pinky. So we have bait. We have a live bait out, and then we have more live bait. Oh, finally a good net of mullet. Yes. I lost my little mullet that I forgot to film. Before I put on a piece of cut bait mullet, I'm gonna try live shrimp because it's a bigger hook and we're gonna throw out in deeper water. What I like to do is put multiple shrimp on. We're gonna go with 2 this time. Fishing them live, so we just wanna run the hook through the back of the tail. That's a lot of shrimp right there. Look how big they are. Since I'm here pretty much right on top of the full moon, which is tomorrow, live bait might work best. I don't know, we'll just have to see what happens. We have cut bait. You might be wondering why I don't fish those big mullet live. Well, I think a smaller live bait would work better tonight than a massive one, particularly just because of where I'm at and the depth of water I'm fishing. If this was a different hole, I would go with one of those big mullet, but not here. We're fishing a depth that goes from just about 10 feet to 20 something feet, so not very deep. And I'm gonna try and put these shrimp in the deeper part. Usually full moons during summertime seem funner to fish than any other ones, whether it be flathead catfish or bass. And I think flathead catfish is fairly likely because we're fishing a live bait around structure. All right, there was a bite on the shrimp. So let's put another shrimp out. So this time I'm just going to put 1 on because I think that'll be fine. Here we go, another bite on the shrimp. I need to let them take it. Gotcha, finally. This is a live shrimp again. I had to go through quite a few before we had a solid hookup. I've always been tempted throughout every time I lost a shrimp, I should say, I was tempted to switch to cut bait mullet. But I just was thinking, man, I have all these nice shrimp, I should just keep with it because there's so many of them here. Probably the best bait to be, nah. Yeah. Okay. Probably the best bait to use because so many, that's what they're feeding off of, right? Best bait, probably because of, yeah, it's probably what they're eating right now. But we're running out of the big ones, pretty much out of the big ones, so we're back to using 2 at once because see the size? Reason for 2 at once is you lose one to something, maybe you still have another one. Definitely thinking could always get more big ones, so we'll do a couple of throws, see what I get. It's already gone 10:48, just about 11. Been maybe every 10 to 15 minutes a hit on the shrimp. Takes my shrimp, or I think I have a fish and it gets off. I mean, maybe twice a fish has got off. It's not the most boring session, but not the best for sure. Not quite yet. Give it a good while longer. Yeah, you're right. Yes. took long enough. I think we had to suffer through little fish and, you know, bait thieves. And now we're into a serious fish. And maybe it's 11:15. It's holding tight to the bottom. Maybe we have a flatty. That's what I was hoping. Sticking to those live shrimp, I was hoping that would, whoa, here we go. Trying to maintain a tight line on them. It's doing something funny. Doesn't have as much strength as he did before, because now he's out of the channel, out of that current seam, and not as big as he. What do we got? Definitely not a big fish. But yeah, definitely a fish though. We got us a small blue cat. Wow, he felt much bigger at first because of the current. There's a lot of current tonight. Usually there's a little more current when the river's dropping or rising, and that's what's up. Plus, the tide is a little stronger because we're right on top of the full moon. There's probably some of these stealing my shrimp. Yeah, you're right. I'm gonna let this one go. I'm doing a bit of a thumbnail hunt right now. Trying to get as many shrimp in one hand as possible. I think this one right here is the biggest. Maybe something like that. A thought has occurred to me. You know what they say about shrimp? It catches everything, right? So there's a lot more than just catfish out in front of us where we're fishing that eats shrimp. We got the gaspergoo, the freshwater drum. They eat them. I mean, I was getting them in the net here and there when I was catching my shrimp earlier. Just little ones. The white bass, lots of species of fish that live in the river eat these shrimp. So our bait thieves don't necessarily have to be little catfish. Even the gar eat them. Almost midnight. That means I gotta go. But before I go, I'll say this. A lot of fish tend to spawn during the full moon. And I think we probably have quite a few, if not just like a ton of catfish right down here in my area spawning during this full moon. However, I believe a lot of catfish also were spawning during the last full moon, you know, recently, because I believe quite a few of them have come off their beds. Like I've said before, they don't all do it at the same time in the same area. Like, it's a huge area, lots and lots of catfish, not just in the river but all over. The water temperatures trigger them to spawn. They get it done during the full moon usually, but not always, but typically it happens during the full moon. And then some will come off the bed and some will go on the bed until they all get it done. So probably have fish spawning right now. Tomorrow is actually the full moon, so we'll probably be dealing with smaller fish and then some fish that are done spawning. It's not like the end of the world, but it is something to keep in mind right now. Yeah, you're right. Thanks for watching, liking, sharing, commenting, subscribing, being a member of the channel, and I'll see you next time.